Yesterday Never Died follows Ethan Ward, a quiet 28-year-old archivist who lives a routine life in the old coastal town of Graybridge, a place where the fog never truly lifts and the locals speak in half-finished sentences, as if terrified to remember something. Ethan works at the abandoned municipal library, abandoned in the sense that it is no longer used by the public, but still funded, mysteriously, to preserve historical documents, many of which are classified beyond anything that should exist in a town this small. Ethan always believed Graybridge was simply strange and forgotten, but everything changes the night he stumbles upon a sealed room in the basement, hidden behind a false shelf, holding only a table, a tape recorder, and a single folder with his name on it. The moment he touches the file, the tape recorder turns on by itself. A distorted voice whispers, "Your yesterday is not dead." He tries to shake it off as a prank, but the file contains photographs, old, grainy images of him as a child. But in each picture, his expression shifts unnaturally, like he is afraid of something just out of frame. The strangest part is that he doesn't remember ever posing for these photos. That night, he is plagued by a nightmare where he sees a young version of himself running through the woods, chased by shadowy figures shaped like silhouettes of people but hollow, as if carved from smoke. When he wakes up, his window is open, though he never opened it. As the days pass, Ethan starts experiencing temporal slips, moments where the present flickers and the world around him freezes, except for himself. He would be walking down a street and suddenly see an older version of the bakery sign, or a demolished house standing intact, or people who look familiar but impossible, ghosts of yesterday bleeding into today. He begins hearing echoes of events that haven't happened yet but feel like memories. He tells his only close friend, Mara Linford, a fearless journalist with a stubborn curiosity, and she brings him a theory. Graybridge is rumored to be built on a region where time is unstable because of a catastrophic experiment from the 1960s. The government erased the incident, and anyone involved never lived to talk about it, or perhaps, she suggests, never fully died. Ethan becomes increasingly unstable as the memories he never lived start flooding back, running at midnight through the forest, hiding in an underground bunker, hearing a siren that warped the air like a living creature screaming. Strange figures begin appearing around town. Tall silhouettes that stand in doorways, alleys, reflections. They vanish when approached, almost like afterimages from another time try to catch up. Ethan feels watched everywhere he goes. Mara digs deeper and discovers classified newspaper reels describing Dayfall, an event where time fractured in Graybridge for 12 minutes, creating duplicates of certain individuals, copies that were never accounted for. Government logs say all duplicates were neutralized, but the documents abruptly stop. The final page describes one missing duplicate. Subject E01. Status, unrecovered. Ethan realizes the horrible truth. He is E01. The copy. Not born, replicated. He was created accidentally during the temporal collapse, and the real Ethan died decades ago. His entire life, all memories, friendships, emotions, fabricated impressions inserted into a timeline to stabilize him. Once he knows the truth, the world becomes even stranger. Reflections stop matching his movements. Shadows stretch toward him even without light. Time hiccups repeatedly, pushing him in and out of events he cannot control. And in these slips, he sees things clearer. Graybridge was never a normal town. It is a temporal prison, a sealed zone meant to contain anomalies like him. The fog, the dead districts, the restricted zones, everything designed to keep unstable echoes inside. Mara tries to protect him. But soon she starts having double memories too, memories of conversations with him that never happened. She confesses in fear that she saw another Ethan outside her apartment, staring up at her window. Ethan's duplicate, the original, or something even worse. Some yesterday version returning to reclaim its place. One night, Mara and Ethan are attacked by one of the shadow constructs, entities formed when fractured versions overlap and merge. They escape to the abandoned research facility outside town, where the original incident happened. Inside, they find machinery fused with decades-old rust and glitching lights that flicker in impossible patterns. Someone or something has been keeping the machines running. In the central chamber, Ethan sees an impossible scene. Hundreds of versions of himself trapped inside glass pods, each one frozen mid-motion, some older, some younger, some injured, some calm. Iterations that never survived their versions of yesterday. But now something is waking them up. A low hum echoes through the facility, and the pods start shaking. Mara realizes the system is failing. Time is collapsing again, pushing every version of Ethan into the same moment. "You're the key," she says breathlessly. "Your yesterday never died. It kept trying to overwrite today." The original Ethan, the real one from decades ago, appears from the shadows. But he looks distorted, frozen partially out of sync with reality. His voice splits into layers when he talks. He tells Ethan that the copies were never meant to survive this long. The collapse was failing again because too many versions existed. One must remain. The rest must return to temporal zero. Ethan refuses to disappear just because he is a copy. Mara stands between them, insisting Ethan deserves to live. But the facility begins tearing apart, time looping, walls resetting, collapsing, reforming. Ethan's duplicates start waking, screaming in different ages of their own voices. Ethan realizes he must decide: fight the original and try to stabilize the timeline himself, or surrender his existence and let the original live. But as the noise grows unbearable, he notices something the original hasn't. Mara is flickering too. She is also becoming unstable. The collapse has affected her timeline because of her involvement. If he chooses death or survival wrongly, she may be erased. In a moment of courage, Ethan decides he won't let anyone disappear. Not Mara, not the town, not even the versions of himself who never got a chance. He runs toward the temporal core, a pulsing sphere of fractured light, and jumps straight into it. The world melts. He experiences every version of himself, child, old man, terrified, brave, all at once. He pulls them together, forcing unity, choosing a single identity. Himself, the one who loved Mara, the one who lived in Greybridge, even if his memories were artificial. He chooses existence by will, not by origin. A blinding flash erupts. And then silence. Ethan wakes up in Greybridge, but this time the fog is gone. The town feels more alive. People smile without that haunted hesitation. No more echoes, no more duplicates. Time flows normally. Mara is alive, stable, real. The two of them walk to the library, now restored and open to the public. Everything seems renewed, like the world got its yesterday back, but in a way that no longer hurts. But when Ethan passes a mirror near the entrance, Mara notices something odd. His reflection lags for just half a second. She pretends not to see. Ethan smiles, unaware. They walk out into the sunlight together. But behind them, in the reflection, Ethan's mirrored self opens its eyes wider and whispers silently, "Yesterday never died."